Another topic I've certainly touched on before is the events leading up to my father's apparent death 22 years ago today. Actually, it's coming to the 3rd of June now. It was the 2nd of June, 1994. And my brother was absolutely adamant that my father knew he had terminal cancer. I didn't even know my father had left to go to my brother's house. I assume it was my older daughter who told me. And she had been told that my father had gone to recuperate from diverticulitis. So who told the lie? My father or my brother? And if that was the case, they transported him on the 25th of April and rang me on the 18th of May to tell me that he had terminal cancer. Why did they wait that long? What are you talking about? 23 days? I say it's not that long, but why didn't they tell me straight away? The impression I got was that they had heard the news that day. And my sister-in-law, I remember the alliteration, all the L's, told me it was his lungs, liver and lymph glands, which actually was not the case. I was getting the death certificate out again, but it wasn't the case. Those were not the affected areas, according to the death certificate. But over and over, I have to go back and think, and I am repeating myself, how extraordinarily convenient it was for him to depart at that point in time. The sequence of events that I have for 1994 is the 16th of February he phoned me and told me Fiona was dead. Fiona Green. And that evening I went to her mother's house. I discovered that he shouldn't have known because nobody else knew. 16th of February. Strangely enough, it was around about the 11th of March that, the 16th of February was the day after my very first social meeting with other lesbians. I identified as lesbian at the time. And it was my first social. We went for a nice meal and all that, and I was on quite a high until my father rang in the morning. I have said this on other videos. It sounds so selfish. But it was a high point in my life. Everything was coming together for me. Anyway, so it was that. And then, of course, the glances exchanged between Erin and I, and trying to decide, that there must have been a mistake about time, and although I knew that, and my decision I offered to go to the inquest on Erin's behalf. She didn't go. And I have said I went because I did want to know what had happened. I wanted to know how my father knew, before anyone else, that Fiona was dead. A long time before anyone else apart from Robin Stoddart, who was also there. Robin John Stoddart, subsequently murdered by UDA hitman Samuel McKinley. Right, so the inquest was the 21st of April. Yep. I am reasonably certain that I spent that weekend with a university friend in her home in the New Forest. And it was that weekend that my father picked me up from there. So that would have been the Sunday. And the next day, lo and behold, he'd gone to Thorn with my brother and sister-in-law with diverticulitis, which turned out to be cancer, which my brother says he already knew was cancer. So then, very soon after the inquest, 4th of May, I discovered gossip was going on about the university about me, which I assumed was about my lesbianism. It was still in the early 90s. It wasn't all that accepted. And it wasn't. It was about events in 1981. 82, 83. Which I have described at Pagham. And my neighbours did know. And very unfortunately for me, my neighbours above and below me in the block of flats worked in the university refectory. I was so naive, I never knew they would try and make any trouble for me. But they took the opportunity the day that I was at the inquest to gossip about the events, with Ken Browning coming and going and so on and so forth. Anyway, that was that. That's pretty much the end of my social life at the university after 7 extremely pleasant months when I'd made friends who were very important to me. Very convenient for my father because there was no one to talk to about the inquest. I do think he put them up to it. One way or another. And then 14 days after that, the phone call from my brother and sister-in-law. He's dying. Your father's dying. Get on up here. 11 days after that, the 29th, I went up. 4 days after that, he, I will say, died. Because there are so few possibilities here. I keep remembering that my brother was as convinced as I was that he was dead. And that remark about he had strong opinions, didn't he? And various other bits. My brother thought my father was dead. And I thought he was dead. And there was a funeral. And I did go and check in the mortuary. Why I felt any obligation to do my father any favours whatsoever before or after, I don't know. But he had asked me to do that because of his fear of being buried alive. And I did do that, and I was pretty convinced that he was dead. Although my other theory that he was both alias de Coakley's, not just one of two, also kind of works. It works very well, actually. It would be really nice to know the answer to these questions before I kick off. Because I am about to move, and I think that will finish me off, actually. I don't think I'm physically able to do that. The heart's packing up as well. It is, and the doctor intimated as much 6 months ago. I'm definitely not up to packing, heavy lifting, stress, strain, not up to it. Anyway, off topic. I want to know the answers. I want to know about the second alias de Coakley. I want to know why he died on the anniversary of Fiona's death, at which my father was present. I'd been through all this over and over and over. Boringly so, I know, but I want the damned answers. I mean, I was so convinced that Dick Oakley was not in fact dead that I went looking for the entry and I found a bloody entry. And then when I got the death certificate, blow me down, he died on the anniversary of Fiona's death. He was in the same job as my father. I've said all this. He worked in the same area as my father. You had the same alias as my father. His daughter had the same name as my father's mother, Margaret Ann. He had COPD, which was the first time I'd ever heard of it, only to be diagnosed with it myself about 7 months later, after getting the certificate. It was quite odd, actually, and the doctor said, "Have you ever heard of it?" And I said, "Yes." But not till July 2011, when I got the death certificate, and I was diagnosed in February 2012. All very weird. It was convenient for my father to disappear immediately after Fiona's inquest, and if he knew that he had terminal cancer, why lie? And why did my brother lie? Why wait so long to tell me? If anyone knew either alias de Coakley, please come forward.